You got soda?
Soda, yeah, it's so bad for you.
Oh, I'm pretty good at not having soda nowadays.
Yeah.
But, I mean, sometimes it really just hits the spot. You need it, you know?
Yeah, I go in spurts where I'm like, I scale down to 0, and then I slowly build it back up, and then I'm like, I'm having several a day.
What is your kick?
Diet Coke.
Diet
The
Coke.
worst. Like, it's probably better to drink Coke.
Yeah, right. with the chemicals. But Diet Coke is kind of my thing too, so I understand. Good. I understand. It's so good. It just hits the spot.
Yeah, I love everything that's bad for you.
I wish it could be flipped. You know, the health food was the bad.
Yeah.
Life would be a lot
like
easier.
If broccoli tasted amazing.
Yeah. That would be the best. It would be much easier that way.
For sure. Are you good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What's up, everybody? I'm Mark Menezes, local realtor, and this is another episode of Lunch at Made, where every week I sit down with somebody who's doing great things in Riverside. We hang out, we talk, we eat lunch. They get to pick what we have for lunch, and I eat the same thing. So, what'd you pick?
I picked Antones. It's a local restaurant just about one street over.
Yeah.
Over there on, is it Brockton?
Is it?
It's Brockton. Yeah. It's been there for years, and I didn't know about it until I met my husband, and he introduced it to me. He had been going there with his family for, a long time, I think his whole life, and it's a very, cool, simple sandwich shop, and they also do Italian food too.
Oh, they do? Okay.
But their Italian sandwiches are so good.
Okay.
They do it on garlic bread, so you can't go wrong.
Awesome. I've actually never been there, so.
Oh, it's really good. There's not a lot of fluff when you walk in. It's very original.
It's Antones?
Antones, yeah, on Brockton, and I just love it, and it's one of my comfort go-to sandwiches.
Yeah.
It's so easy and good.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to trying it.
Yeah.
So obviously we're going to have the food will be here in a few minutes, but
sure.
We got together to hang out and talk about your business.
All right.
And what you're doing in Riverside, which, gosh, it was probably 3 years ago we first came across, and I've told this story before, but I was in the shopping center at the Brockton Arcade, where that was your first spot, right?
Very first shop, yeah.
I was like, what is this store? I'm looking in the window, and it was obviously much smaller than where you are now.
Yeah.
It's there's some really cool pieces in there, and it was oh, it's closed, and then there was a sign on the door, and it's sorry, gone to Vegas. I was like, who is the owner of this business? I need to meet them.
My real life, exactly. So my first shop was at the Brockton Arcade, and it was kind of my pilot to see if my vision was actually even plausible, that it would even work out. And it was a tiny little 760 square foot location, and I sell mid-century modern, and at that time my shop was called Not Another Mod Snob, and that was my first business name that actually was never meant to be my real business name, but this stuff started taking off before I could officially change anything.
Right.
And so it was just, the Brockton Arcade I grew up there, I feel like, and so having my first shop there, it's a big point of pride for me, because I absolutely love the Brockton Arcade.
Yeah.
And so luckily for me, the business resonated with people, and it became what it is today, which is a big showroom, a 6,500 square foot shop downtown Riverside on 10th, and it's now called the Hologram House, which is my official picked name. It wasn't an accidental name,
Yeah.
So it's really fun business.
How long were you in the Brockton Arcade?
I was there for 2 years, and the reality of small business, at least in the way I run it, is that it's always going to be, it's tough because I would have to leave, even now I have to leave to go pick up my kids, I'm a mom, I'm also doing the business, and so sometimes when, I'm taking time off or something like that, I have to leave a note on my door and explain myself, so that's when you saw the Vegas one. I think I even put up another sign on my door that said, hey, my sister's having a baby shower and closed this Saturday, blame her, I've always tried to make it lighthearted and funny, because it's just my reality. I can't be there all the time, and that's just kind of the nature of a homegrown business. It just happens that way.
Yeah, I think people are attracted to, obviously, if a business has great product and great service, their product is great, but when you have the people behind it, when they're just genuine and real and likable,
a personal,
that's the connection. Frosting and the cherry on top.
Yeah.
You definitely have that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's something that I've always aimed to do, is have a very personal spin. A lot of businesses they just offer their products, and they're so good at that. But for me, I wanted like more of a personal connection. Like, you're not just, seeing my product, you're seeing my life and my family, and I show my husband on there and my kids, and it's just almost like I want people to understand that it's not Amazon, so I'm not able, to
Right.
be
I saw
super
your post on that.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, I'm not Amazon, but it really is homegrown, and I'd like to bring back like the personal aspect of small business and connect with people and moms and people that have an idea, and throw it at the wall, see if it sticks, try it,
Yeah.
Everybody can try it.
Yeah, so explain to people that don't specifically know, like, kind of the era, the time frame,
Sure.
and explain it.
So I buy anything from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, but mid-century modern, that was like described as the golden age of design. It's
Yeah.
where like really thoughtful design was. When we were talking about furniture back in the day, it was all meant to be design and high-end high function design. Besides the quality of what they were manufacturing back in the day with like real wood and real joinery and things like that, the modern influence really started in like the 40s, and then you saw it transcend through the decades, even up until
Right.
the 90s, which is like 80s, 90s, postmodern. So I focus on anything from the 50s to even the 80s nowadays. I got to follow the trends, and so it's wild to me, but I totally see the cool lines of like even 80s furniture that we probably grew up with.
Right.
At that time, we were like, what the heck, Now it's like if you understand design and you can see past, your own personal feelings of it, you might be able to see the beauty of that item in a specific space that could work really well. So along with offering mid-century, I really put a focus on sustainability, because we don't need more furniture in this world. We can just reuse and recycle what we have. And oftentimes, actually more than often, it's higher quality furniture. It's built to last a lifetime.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I focus on.
Yeah, that's amazing, because it's not just the the aesthetic and the look and the design, but
It's
the
just-
quality of the stuff. Like I see all the time on your stories or on social media, where you're finishing and
Yeah.
a table that has a giant scratch or
Yeah.
anything, and it's like you're able to make it look like it's brand new. Which
Yes.
a lot of the way furniture is built today, it's just not.
It's not meant to be,
not
yeah,
meant to be.
we're totally absolutely in like a disposable
Yeah.
kind of way about furniture. And back in like the 50s and 60s, you got married, you picked your furniture, that was typically the furniture you had for the rest of your life. And so either I'll get furniture that's vintage and it's, pristine because they valued it and they knew they wanted it to last and look really, really good, or you'll get furniture that you can tell there's 70 years of wear on it because it had a lifetime of use. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting. But even with the 70 years of wear, most things can be fixed and repaired, and it is worth it because we're talking about, high quality woods that are built out of legacy wood.
Yeah.
And what's really cool about legacy wood is that it's old. And so when furniture is built with old wood, that it's just structurally stronger, and then it burns slower, which is kind of cool. So that's a cool fact I like to share with people.
Yeah.
Even old houses burn at a slower rate than newer production houses because it's all about the wood they were built with. So it's kind of
Right.
interesting.
It adds a whole different layer, to furniture as well. The fact that, because back then it was built strong enough to pass down
Sure.
to an heirloom to another family member,
Yeah.
and I'm super nostalgic and sentimental, so
Yeah.
that just doesn't exist today. The couch that we have today will be gone, and no one will want it eventually. And
There's no, I get it. I get it.
It just serves a physical purpose rather than having the emotional.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I even have kind of a funny story about that. Like my first house in California, my husband and I bought, it was in the Wood Streets, right here. And I found this pink oven, okay? And I'm like, babe, we have to install this. We had this vintage house, mid-century. It was totally cute, but the kitchen had burned down sometime in the 90s. So it was like a 90s contractor rebuild. So I'm trying to throw it back to like a cute style that matched the house, because I had a pink bathroom. And so I found this pink oven, long story short. I went insane over it. And my husband, who is not into anything vintage or antique or anything like that, he was like, "You're insane." But I remember telling him a selling point, at least to me it was a selling point, is think of how many Thanksgiving dinners this oven has cooked. And he's like, "I don't care." And I'm like, it matters to me, and I don't know why. And I'm nostalgic about furniture as well, like rocking chairs that have rocked for 60 years. I mean, somebody may have had that with their newborn baby. I don't know why I care about things like that, but I do. It means something. There's more value to it, and I just love it.
Yeah, I think there's some people are just like that, where physical objects, it's almost like they contain and hold memories.
Yeah, it's an odd thing that I can't describe, and I'm nostalgic about an era that I never existed in, but I want to be there, and so it's almost like I'm trying to collect everything to save it, and we got to remember that things were like this, or furniture was like this, and it was purposeful and meaningful,
I know people that aren't that way, I try to explain it, because for the most part, I think everybody, like, smells will bring back a memory.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think most people generally have that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for some people, for me, like, objects will hold that too. Like, if I see, like, I have my grandfather's cross that he used to wear, like, instantly takes me back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I have a dresser that became my daughter's dresser. It was my husband's growing up, and then before that, it was his grandmother's. I don't know why, but the way the drawers smell, I love it.
Yeah.
It smells like my grandma, which is a really odd thing, because I don't know if it's mothballs, I don't know what it is, the laundry detergent, but the way that dresser smells brings me back to my grandma's house when I was little.
Yeah.
And I absolutely treasure it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was in Costco not too long ago, and this woman, an older woman, walks by, and she was wearing the same perfume my grandmother wore. My grandmother passed years ago.
Throws you back.
And I followed this old lady all over the store. I kept trying to walk by, and it just instantly takes back to all these memories.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you're on 9th Street?
10th Street.
10th Street.
So I'm at 3768 10th Street, so City Hall. I can see it from my window, and it says in big, it's actually my handwriting that's on the front of the building. It says the Hologram House.
You wrote that out?
That's my handwriting.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
And then I had
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I had a really talented artist named Daniel paint it for me, and he just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's right there on 10th Street. And the courthouse, it's all within walking distance, and so I'm really, really thankful to be down there. It's such a beautiful vibe, The courthouse is just probably one of my favorite, besides the Mission Inn, of course, my favorite buildings in Riverside. So beautiful.
Yeah, and your new name with the Hologram House, that has something to do with the vendors, right? That you have, the collective?
Yeah. I mean, it was, people ask me about this name a lot, and holograms have always been kind of I remember my dad used to take me to Denny's. He would get the holographic baseball cards, and I always would fawn over them because they were so cool to me.
Yeah.
Well, holograms have always been sort of like a fascination. So when I was thinking about a business name and I was trying to think of something unique that would spark a little curiosity, Hologram House doesn't really explain what it is, but it does incite a little bit of curiosity, let me check this out. Almost like Made, right? Made obviously describes a bunch of items in here, but it doesn't say, it sparks a curiosity. It's a great name because
it's not like Pizza Hut.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you what it is. It's you better go in there and figure it out, and it's cool. So the Hologram House, it was obviously this place is a multi-vendor showroom, and so you can find your vibe in one of those rooms. So if mid-century isn't exactly it, or Danish modern isn't exactly it, then there's a gorgeous Hollywood Regency room, and if you like a little bit more of the 80s vibe, you can go there, or 60s psychedelic. We've got it all, So if you like vintage, that's the place. It's got something for everybody, and also something for everybody's budget. I mean, you can go in there and spend $5, and get a really special trinket that is thoughtful,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been there a bunch of times, and every time I go, there's new stuff. You guys do you do a great job of not just staying full with items, but constantly bringing new stuff. The vendors too, every time I go into one of the rooms there, I could tell there's passion behind it.
Oh yeah, and And the nature of vintage is that there is no ordering. You know, I get a lot of people asking me this question, and I love this question because I know that if you're not in the business, you may not understand. But the nature of vintage is there's no ordering, and you may not come across it again.
Right.
And so people always ask me, well, how often do you get these? And I'd like to be like, well, you know, it could be tomorrow, but it also could be 3 years from now. Or never,
Yeah.
right? I mean, or never. And so there's no telling, and so that's why it's really cool, because every item is pretty darn unique. I mean, you mostly won't find them nowadays, and so that's why it's special, you know? It's not something everybody has.
Yeah, and your great plant selection too. It's Mod House plants.
Yeah.
She does a great job at it.
Yeah, and so there's going to be, like, Mod House Plants is changed into ODG Vintage. She's going to change her focus a bit, and then I'm not really sure the future of the plant business there, but I may bring in another plant vendor because Britt would like to change her focus, and it's all good, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. So,
Yes,
are you hungry?
I am.
Okay, so Antones.
Antones?
And what did you order?
I ordered a turkey sandwich on garlic bread, both sides. My husband only usually does garlic bread on one side. I love garlic, so I did it on two sides, so I hope you're up for it.
Yes, I love garlic.
It's so good. It's so good.
Awesome.
Yeah. You'll be addicted after this, by the way. You're forever going to go there.
Thanks, Amy.
There we are. Thank you.
What's your drink?
I did iced tea.
Iced tea, that works. Just regular iced tea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not sweet tea? Now
Not sweet tea.
You lived in...
I lived in the South, so when you order tea, you have to emphasize unsweet, or you're just getting sugar water.
Right. I remember at first it was like, I'll just have some tea, and they're like, looked at me like
with sugar, right?
Sweet tea? And I was like, what's sweet tea?
Oh,
I'll
man.
never forget the first time I took a drink of it. It's like a lot of sugar.
Oh, I used to make it. I used to wait tables
So
out
did
there,
I.
and it's...
We had these giant bags.
I was
of
gonna
sugar.
say,
I did
we'd
that
fill
too.
up a pitcher, pour the whole thing, I think 2 things of the
Yeah.
pitcher into the tea tube, and I can't even explain, like, that is beyond sugar water.
Oh yeah, I
my
remember
God.
I was like, is this like sugar for the rest of the day? They're like, no, that's one batch.
That's one batch, yeah.
All right, so turkey on white bread, lettuce,
Garlic.
tomato, garlic on both sides.
Simple, but absolutely.
Awesome. Cheers.
Cheers. Can't go wrong.
No, that's great.
You can't go wrong.
And one of the most important things with a sandwich is the bread.
Okay, yeah, and then the garlic.
Bread's very soft.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I have a new place to put my rotation now.
I'm telling you, 100% success rate with this sandwich.
Yeah, it's good. So, what's the future look like for the Hologram House? Do you have any
That's a great
new plans,
question.
or are you kind of on the path right now? You think you're going to be on for a while?
I'm definitely on the path right now that I'll be on for a while. There's been a lot of movement in this small business.
Yeah.
And my last location being temporary. My first one always knew it was too small, but like I said, it was really a pilot idea. And so now I'm here at this shop that I really poured my heart and soul into. And so being with the vendors, you know, there is movement, of course, with vendors that will move on or change their ideas and such. But the future right now, keep on trucking. The Hologram House is overwhelming success, and it's going beautifully. The future for the business, who knows? 5 years from now, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I would love to break into maybe design services and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I'm really, really satisfied with what I'm doing. I've kind of reached all my goals faster than I thought, and I'm so thankful for that. But also because I'm restless, I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do next.
Right.
So right now, no big decisions. Just keep on trucking and keep on keeping on. You know.
Well, keep it up. You've done an amazing job. I mean,
Thank you.
as a real estate agent, if I have someone buy a house in Riverside, especially if they moved out
Yeah.
from outside the area, obviously I come here from Made and I get something to give as a gift, and I
Sure.
stop by.
I always
By your
appreciate
place as
that.
well, so.
I always appreciate that.
So yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Keep on trucking, and thanks so much for watching Lunch at Made. Thank you to my guest, Courtney Gallagher of the Hologram House. If you haven't been there, check it out on 10th Street, downtown Riverside. You won't regret checking it out, and you'll be probably addicted to going back over and over again. So make sure that you're following, if you're not watching this live right now, if you're watching the recorded version, make sure you follow Made. It's Made Shop, Made Riverside on Instagram, and then make sure you set the notifications so that you'll get notified every time we go live. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Bye.